Welcome to another Jamaica Magazine. It has been proven time and again that procrastination hinders productivity. On that note, let's not procrastinate and get the tape rolling. First up are the top stories that made the news this week.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. Savannah, Lamar, Negril and Grange Hill in Westmoreland have been classified as hotspots as government intensifies operations to disrupt organized criminal gang activity and restore law and order to the communities.
The Honourable House should also note that as a means of sustaining progress, the JDF has re-established a forward operating base within Westmoreland at the Barnum Wharf and has commenced joint patrols primarily in the hotspot areas in the division. This is being supported by domestic patrols from the Westmoreland Police Division.
The Security Minister told Parliament that government will be developing a master plan to both improve public order and enhance access to social amenities in these communities. Meanwhile, as the escalating gang feud in Westmoreland put pressure on the Savannah Lamar Hospital's trauma personnel, the Health Ministry deployed additional security and counseling teams to support staff.
It's a difficult situation. Many people don't understand the challenges that public health workers go through when these situations occur. The police force included who provide security services when these things occur. And we really need to redouble our efforts to try and avoid them from taking place.
The Office of the Prime Minister revealed this week that the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, MOCA, was investigating a number of fake social media accounts claiming to belong to Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The OPM's press secretary, Naomi Francis, said the matter had also been reported to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On Wednesday, the House of Representatives passed the Child Diversion Bill to steer children who come in conflict with the law on a path away from the criminal justice system and its negative features.
It is not our intention that these wrongdoers should just be charged, prosecuted, and incarcerated. We want to do everything within our powers to ensure that at every stage we give the child as much assistance to really lead on a straight and narrow path.
Government has opened a justice center in Port Maria, offering all non-court related justice services under one roof.
Every parishioner must know there somewhere that if they need information about justice, they can attend and get information as to how to really access the courts, access a lawyer, access any justice or legal service.
The Dispute Resolution Foundation and the Citizen Security and Justice Program CSJP3 are partnering to implement a community mediation project that will provide free sessions to persons in conflict.
You have a formula that can help anyone who is in conflict to resolve their issues in a peaceful and amicable way. It promotes respect, it builds relationships, it repairs relationships.
Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett made his sectoral presentation on Tuesday and announced a 5-year, $1 billion housing program for sector workers. He also announced a $100 million certification program for high school students to gain entry-level qualification for the hospitality industry and gave an update on the long-awaited pension scheme for tourism workers.
The CPC has given us the draft now, so we are ready, hopefully, to come to Parliament with the bill in the middle of the year or so, and hopefully by October, we will have this revolutionary tourism pension plan for the people of this great industry.
The State Minister for Education, Youth and Information, Floyd Green, also delivered his sectoral presentation this week, announcing a partnership with Family Life Ministries to establish Jamaica's first privately run foster care program.
The children, Mr. Speaker, will continue to remain our children, and accordingly we will track their progress and conduct continuous assessment of this program.
And finally, the National Works Agency has started a $22 million road rehabilitation program in Mount Salem. It targets Crawford Street, Pigott Street and Peddlers Lane in the St. James community, which was the first to be declared a zone of special operations. And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
Parents, how do you think your children feel when they are beaten?
I feel so sad when my mother beats me.
It makes me feel so angry.
I feel embarrassed, and I feel like you just don't care.
It has been proven that coercive parenting is directly linked to the aggression your children are displaying in schools. The National Parenting Support Commission is imploring you, parents, rethink your actions. Stop beating your children.
A message from the National Parenting Support Commission in collaboration with Ministry of Education, Youth and Information for improved safety and security in schools.
So today, I'm asking your participation in bringing out the flavor in our Saturday soup. It's very simple. Close your eyes and press your hands to them for 2 seconds, just like this. The lights you saw just now, they're called phosphenes. You also see this colorful light show as you begin to doze before bed at night. Phosphene is an impression of light that occurs without light entering the eye and is usually caused by stimulation of the retina or by excitation of the neurons in the visual system. Phosphene, blobs and patterns that bedazzle your eyelids in this, your Saturday soup.
We have a subculture that supports those who do not inform, an anti-informer culture that pervades our entire society that we must break down.
Human trafficking is real. Men, women, and yes, children. There are no exclusions. In an attempt to put an end to this ill act, healthcare workers are being trained to be more analytical in identifying victims. Here's how.
Trafficking in persons is a serious matter. It is perhaps a larger problem than many people understand. And health plays an important role because oftentimes these persons may present at health facilities because of any crisis that may arise, any health crisis that may arise while they are here in Jamaica or while they are held in these kinds of circumstances. And so it's very important that our healthcare workers engage in primary care, emergency care, mental health, pediatrics, and so on, are positioned to identify such persons. The development of the management of suspected victims of trafficking in persons protocol for health workers is therefore a step in the right direction, which is designed to be used as a guide and contains pertinent information concerning the identification and protection of victims. And it provides guidelines relating to the stabilization of patients, importance of confidentiality, requisite documentation, consent, and referral of suspected victims. So I want to congratulate the Task Force Against Trafficking in Jamaica for the completion of this document, and of course to recognize the work and the support of the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of National Security in this important document. And that as many as 88% of sex trafficking victims may end up at our health institutions. But I understand that only a small percentage of our healthcare workers are confident and have some degree of knowledge with respect to identifying a trafficked person. So we need to look at how we get this training done. We have to break this cycle of violence. Clearly the health sector has a very important role to play in this regard. Training has been done in the past, but we do have turnover of staff. And so it's very useful that there is the training plan, which would include training of some 500 health workers starting in 2018. And the training will include a wide cross-section of healthcare workers, both in the public and the private health sectors.
Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, celebrating over 20 years of investment in community development. JSIF has forged relationships with international funding partners as well as private and public sector entities. Let us continue to invest to reduce vulnerabilities. Let us build our social capital and resilient infrastructures to ensure full participation in Vision 2030. JSIF, investing for community development.
And in a nutshell, that's the story of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund. The agency has been instrumental in paving the way for future promises through its involvement in various projects. Here's a look at the perpetual possibilities made able through education.
The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight.
A pillar of Jamaica's development plan, Vision 2030, points to the need for access to quality education. The Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, continues to make significant contributions to the education sector in Jamaica. They have been effectively mobilizing resources from the CDB Basic Needs Trust Fund, EU Poverty Reduction Program, and the Petro-Caribe Development Fund, with the aim of improving learning environments. JSIF has successfully completed phases 7 and 8 of the CDB Basic Needs Trust Fund BNTF project. One of the components of the project was to support the expansion and rehabilitation of 9 primary schools across Jamaica from the shift system, as well as to reduce overcrowding in some schools. The Mandeville Primary and Junior High and the Christian and Moravian Primary Schools in Manchester were 2 of the beneficiaries.
Mandeville Primary and Junior High, we transitioned September 1, 2017 into the whole day operation from the shift system. JSIF has been an integral part of the transition in providing us with 12 new classrooms and also with a sanitation system.
Before the Jamaica Social Investment Fund intervened, Christian and Moravian Primary and Infant School was bursting at the seam. We had an enrollment of over 1,000 students with very little space in which to accommodate them. Since the JSIF intervention, we have received 10 new classroom blocks, fully furnished. There was also a rehabilitation component to the project. Our block was rehabilitated, the bathroom facilities were improved. It has boosted the morale of staff, of students, of parents and guardians and other stakeholders.
Silver and gold will vanish away, but a good education will never decay.
In 2009, the Ministry of Health indicated that 235 primary and junior high schools were using unsafe, unhygienic pit latrines. JSAFE, through the Petro-Caribbean Development Fund, embarked on removing these outdated facilities. This initiative has since led to the construction of 51 sanitation blocks in primary and junior high schools with over 20,000 beneficiaries.
JSAFE has undertaken a huge initiative here. Prior to 2015, we were using pit latrines, and since June of 2015, we can now safely say we are boasting the use of modern toilet facilities.
The bathrooms was very messy. It was terrifying when there wasn't any pipes at the pit latrine, because sometimes when we were coming up from using bathroom, some persons forgot to wash their hands because there wasn't any water.
I was glad because it was nearer to the classroom. I have running water. It was more cleaner. It was more comfortable on the toilets. I have more privacy.
Parents would have expressed concern they don't want their children to be coming here to be using pit latrines, but with the new bathroom facilities, we have had an outpour of students coming here. Over 92 students. Prior to we had 65, and the number is growing.
Do all the good you can to all the people you can, in all the ways you can, just as long as you can.
The JSAFE Poverty Reduction Program, PRP, in partnership with the Community Renewal Program funded by the European Union, took on a 48-month project targeting economically marginalized individuals, costing over 1.9 billion Jamaican dollars. The project's objectives are to promote growth through education by improving early childhood institutions, aiding entrepreneurial development, and providing internships, workshops, skills training, as well as tertiary and vocational scholarships.
I got the JSAFE scholarship in my final year at the University of the West Indies in 2015 while pursuing a degree in marine biology and psychology. In my final year, I actually had applied for a student loan, but in receiving the scholarship, it covered my entire school fee, and as such, I was really elated, and I actually sent back the money that I had gotten from student loans.
The Jamaica Social Investment Fund has been a major player in the implementation of several possibility projects across Jamaica.
Thank you, JSAFE.
And the CDB.
Thank you, JSAFE, and the Petro-Caribbean Development Fund.
Thanks to the JSAFE PRP program, I really appreciate the scholarship. It helped me in many, many ways.
JSAFE, investing for community development.
The Jonathan Grant High School students and faculty will be painting in color for their Spruce Up with Library 2018 Labor Day project. That's May 23, start time 8 a.m. Come out and join them as they create the perfect space to read, learn, and connect, as reading, they say, maketh a full man. The Lay Magistrates Association of Jamaica, St. James, and the Sweetwater Blossom Foundation are using music as an intervention in at-risk communities as they host a marching band competition. It's at the Catherine Hall Stadium on May 23 at 4 p.m. Come out and cheer on your community and unwind after your Labor Day projects. The Battle of the Bands, Labor Day. Trinity Moravian Church invites you to a sumptuous Mother's Day brunch. Come out on Sunday, May 13 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Immaculate Conception High. Join them for an occasion filled with delicious food and entertainment. Tickets are just $2,000. Celebrate Mom, your first friend, your best friend, and your forever friend. Do you have something to share on our notice board? Contact us at 876-922-8680 or send us an email at rcarty@gis.gov.jm.
It is International Bird Migration Day. You may wonder what this May 12 observation has to do with us here in Jamaica. The Morant Keys has just the cause. Well, I mean the answer to that.
The Jamaican sunrise sets the morning on fire, and the islands of the Moran Keys shimmer in its orange glow. Suddenly, there's another burst of energy. The silence is pierced by a terrible noise, and the sky is transformed into a sea of flapping wings. These are the birds of the Keys. They are what are known as seabirds. That is, birds that only come to land when nesting. The sooty tern, royal tern, brown noddy, laughing gull, and the magnificent frigate bird are all inhabitants of the Keys. They nest here each year between the months of April and August. Most birds lay a single egg on the ground. Because nesting is done primarily on the ground, the eggs are vulnerable to predators. Thus, the color of the eggs acts as a camouflage. They are cream to light brown in color with dark brown spots that blend in with the sand, making identification pretty difficult. Seabird colonies are rare on the Jamaican mainland, making offshore islets such as those of the Moran Keys important areas for nesting. At last count, the number of nesting birds numbered 240,000, and this was on just one of the 4 keys comprising the Moran Keys. The Keys lie approximately 60 kilometers southeast of Moran Point and 90 kilometers southeast of Kingston. These are the sooty terns. They are the dominant species on the Keys and come all the way here to nest after roaming the tropical seas of the world. They are very territorial and defend aggressively what is known as their pecking distance. This is the total space around which their beaks can extend while they're on the nest. Sooty terns are one of the most abundant of the world's tropical seabirds, and when away from breeding habitats can only be seen from a boat at sea. One of their most distinctive marks is a deeply forked tail. This is followed by the white of the forehead that extends to the eyes. Because of these marks, the birds are highly distinguishable, especially when in flight. Whilst the Keys are relatively predator-free, the eggs of these birds are preyed upon by other dwellers of the Keys. The ghost crab is a natural predator that eats the eggs of the sooty tern. They make their move when the birds leave the nest site to look for food, and the eggs are left unprotected. Another pilferer of the sooty tern's eggs is the laughing gull, a small bird with a reddish bill that also inhabits the Keys at this time. However, the greatest threat to the eggs of the sooty tern, and those of other egg birds for that matter, is man. For centuries, the eggs of these birds have been collected in the hundreds by fishermen and sold for large sums of money. This was because they were believed to possess aphrodisiac properties. It was not uncommon to hear in the downtown Kingston area a vendor's shrill cry of booby eggs for sale, booby being a name given to the egg birds that inhabit the Keys. The result of this practice was an alarming decline in the population of the seabirds. In 1970, their population dwindled to about 1/10 of the numbers present in 1920. An intensive management program implemented by the Natural Resources Conservation Authority, the NRCA, in 1982 has made the colony viable once again. And although eggs are still collected, it is an illegal activity that attracts a fine of up to $100,000 or a 12-month prison sentence. Jamaica Defense Force Coast Guards also monitor the keys. This regal-looking bird is the royal tern, an egg bird that produces an egg that looks like that of the sooty tern. It is a much larger bird than the sooty tern and brown noddy, identifiable by its bright orange-yellow bill and shock of elongated black feathers at the top and back of its head. They too nest on the sand among the only vegetation that grows on this barren sandbar, the seaside parsley. Because of its size and coloring, the royal tern really stands out among the other birds of the key. However, the most superior bird on the key, in terms of size, is the magnificent frigate bird, or man-o'-war, as it is commonly called. It measures between 94 and 104 centimeters, with a long forked tail and slender pointed wings that are bent sharply at the wrist. Its habit of floating motionless in the air makes this bird easily identifiable, and while adult males appear entirely black when on the ground, females are distinguished by a shock of white at the breast. Young frigate birds appear brownish black with white feathers on their heads and breast. Unlike the other egg birds, the magnificent frigate does not nest directly on the ground, but builds a nest out of sticks and shrubs. And as they are very sensitive to disturbances while incubating, they are confined to the most remote of the islets, such as those of the Morant Keys. When summer comes to a close, so too does the stay of these magnificent seabirds of the Keys. Like a great cloud, they will darken the sky, wings flapping feverishly to take them back to the world's oceans. Not all will survive the journey, but for those that make it back the next year, the Keys will provide a safe enough haven where the egg birds may propagate, thus ensuring the survival of their species.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash, no paper, no dash, no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your eat.
Keep the island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
And this is where today's show reel ends. But if you haven't already, follow, like, and subscribe to our social media pages, and we'll continue the conversation there. Also, tomorrow is Mother's Day, and we'll share with you the experiences of a new mom. So be sure to tune in. Until then, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.